Caring for someone with dementia can be an emotional journey. It's often stressful.
Nebraska's first ever Dementia Care Conference will give caregivers solutions and perhaps hope.
And two of the organizers of this two-day event are with us this morning, Lisa Summers and Jim Janicki. Thanks for stopping by this morning.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks
Hi,
for
We've got these goggles. We're going to get these in a second. But how important is it for caregivers and I guess providers as well to understand what their loved ones are going through?
Sure. Well, the dementia journey is something that it's important for caregivers and both families and professionals to really understand, because the folks with dementia just can't express what they're going through most of the time. And so some of the things that we're going to talk about are how we introduce the sensitivity to caregivers so that they understand what aging adults are going through. The difference is an aging adult can pretty much say, oh, you know, my feet hurt, I'm dealing with different things, but somebody with dementia may not understand why they're feeling that way, and they can't communicate that. So to help the professionals and the families just understand how to talk to somebody with dementia, that's really what this conference is about.
What is it like to have dementia? What do we know?
Well, we know it's a very confusing time for folks who are dealing with memory loss. They don't remember beyond, their short-term memory is gone, and they're really living in the past most of the time. But there's various different kinds of dementia. I mean, at least how many different kinds of dementia are there?
Oh, there's several. We're still finding new ones.
Yeah, and so what we find is that some people deal with paranoia. They're scared, they're upset, they're frantic, looking for things. Others are just the happiest people in the world. When my grandmother had Alzheimer's, she was happy with all the new people she was meeting every day, basically. So it just kind of depends which type of dementia you have.
And I talked about these goggles. We're going to try to see what it's like a little bit to live with dementia. How do these goggles, what do they do?
Well, we do this a lot when we're training any caregivers or anyone that would be working with anybody with dementia. We're simulating a lot of things that you would go through with the aging process anyway, so possibly glaucoma, macular degeneration.
So that's what these circles are for,
Yes,
is to obstruct the vision.
Yes. So there's a little bit of a smear, so to speak, on there, because everything on the outside there would be fuzzy. We also have folks put on gloves, and this is going to go ahead and it'll replicate the feeling of neuropathy. Sometimes just through aging process we lose some of the sensitivity to our different senses, and touch would be one of those. So this would be what it would be like to be an older person.
Where your nerve endings aren't
Exactly.
quite as receptive as they would have been when you were younger.
Sometimes we'll put things like this in somebody's shoe. I mean, we could have issues with even longer toenails, but we don't know how to tell somebody my toenails need clipped. It's causing pain, or we could have corns or bunions. As we age, our feet aren't the prettiest anyway, and they just get worse.
So you'll use these for caregivers to understand the sensation then of what that might be like. So imagine going every day of having these little hard nubs kind of pushing against your feet, and how uncomfortable that would be. Really.
You mentioned your earpieces. When we do this with other folks, we also have earphones that they put on, and it's giving them background noise. If you're wearing hearing aids, or you're just more sensitive to sound. Another thing you can't control is the temperature in the room. So sometimes we'll put 3 sweaters on somebody, or we'll just put them in a tank top to do this, so they understand what it's like to have to do daily tasks like folding your laundry or pairing socks up with all of these different impairments.
How does it change a caregiver's perception of someone that has these disabilities? Does it reduce their frustration level? Does it help them work better with them?
Hopefully it does. That's what it's intended to do. Many times we'll see somebody going through this process, we'll have them try to set a table, or we'll give them a list of 3 tasks, they've got to do them in order. They can never do it, and we'll have nurses that have gone through this, and we leave the room when it's happening. We put them in this garb, we send them in, give them their task, and we can hear them in there cussing, getting frustrated. We've had people come out crying because it's very real. And when you work with somebody with dementia, we understand that this is really what they're going through. Knowing this, now I'm able to help them make their struggles successes. I'm able to help them with behaviors or combativeness because I understand what they're going through.
I remember on CBS this morning they did a feature on, they put somebody through that same thing. I think was it Gail or one of the two? But yeah, she got really emotional in there because some of these tasks were so difficult.
Especially if you have somebody in your life that you love that's been going through this, it's very real.
Well, your heart was already breaking, and then to understand their day-to-day reality,
Yes,
it's
yeah.
even more difficult.
Yeah.
Why did you want to bring this event to Nebraska? We said it's the first of its kind.
Yeah, it's put on by the Alzheimer's Association's Midlands chapter,
Yeah.
and it really started small and it's grown. It was a one-day event. Now we're up to a two-day event. It's Thursday and Friday next week.
Boy, does that speak to the need.
And it really, because of the number of people dealing with dementia, both in the Omaha area and nationally, it's now the 5th leading cause of death for aging adults. So we're just trying to help not only the professional caregivers, but even families to understand what's the best way to help their loved one.
This is about getting tools and understanding. Maybe you're connecting with other families so you know you're not alone. Is there a cost? Do our viewers need to reserve space before we let you go?
They do need to RSVP for the event. They can contact the website that's there, or if they just need to call the Alzheimer's Association, they can find them online and register for the event. And then there's also a lot of helpful booths set up by local providers that can provide additional information, and they can get a lot of different resources that they can contact through the association.
That URL was a bit lengthy. We'll put that on our website.
A little bit long,
Make
yeah.
it easy to click through there.
Got it right fast.
You can even go to Alzheimer's Association. It's alz.org. So they'll have all the information there.
There's the site. Thank you both for coming in today. It's nice to see you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you,
Thanks for
Jim.
coming.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
So you think your old computer isn't worth a dime? That's not true this week. Why? In about 8 minutes.
First, fashion editor Wendell Brown, how he says men can up their cool factor at work and play.